easily.
Artistic direction, do you think that Red Steel 2 is ready to convince all type of gamers? Because one of the critiques of the first one was that it was a little bit incomplete, no time to finish it. So it seems to be a more finished product.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Do you think that it's ready to convince all kind of gamers?
I do. I think so. I mean, I think the game speaks for itself, which is why we from the beginning we knew that when we showed the game, we didn't want to talk about it. We wanted you to play it. And so, you know, we announced at E3, you know, and we had the floor demo right there, you know. So we knew also that because of the frustrations of that the audience expressed, and that that the team felt as well about the first game, that this one needed to be good. This one needed to actually fulfill the promise of that sword fighting that was missing from the first one, and that if we didn't succeed, that we were running a very serious risk with our fans. So it was always our #1 priority, was to make sure that the game was great, you know, finished, polished, ready to go out, and you know that people who picked up the controller would have a good time. And hopefully that's what happened.
And that's why you started from zero. You wanted to clear the
bad impression, maybe.
No, you know what? You know what's funny is that when you talk to, we spent a lot of time talking to our fans about Red Steel 1, and you really get this impression of there's a genuine hope among the fans of Red Steel 1 that Red Steel 2 would be Red Steel 1 only better, right? That it would finish it. There's a lot of affection for Red Steel 1 out there, even though there are a lot of fans who are, you know, I think rightfully so, frustrated with the controls and certain aspects of the gameplay. Like you said, it clearly needed a little bit more time. That said, the reason we made a second one was because the audience is interested, right, and wanted that experience to come along. No, the reason we started over was because the Wii Motion Plus let us create this first-person sword fighting experience. And that meant we could create, instead of creating, as I said, instead of creating a first-person shooter, we could create a first-person brawler. And that meant that we needed bad guys who were carrying swords. Okay? We needed a world full of enemies who had katanas. That's what we needed, and that's not this world. That's not the world of the first game, right? In the first game, there was a great amount of elaborate effort that was made to create the sword fighting scenes, right, to make them believable, and we wanted it to just be common. So we decided to start over in a world that would fit this gameplay better, and really for no other reason than that. If the prior setting had fit the gameplay as well as I think this one does, we would be in that same setting.
Okay. The world of this second title is completely different. The graphics too. And what remains of the first title? The experience?
Yeah. The sword and the gun gameplay. Right. The promise of a sword and gun, and then the Asian theme, the sort of the yes, the Asian theme and the Asian sort of the exotic setting. Those were the pieces we wanted to retain, and the modern nature of the game as well. But the dilemma we were faced with was we made a great number of changes, right, in terms of the look. But if I was sitting here and I had created, you know, Kendo Master 4, right, or, you know, the new franchise, and I explained to you that the gameplay was a first-person sword and gun fighting game that was only available on the Wii, you would say, "Oh, you mean like Red Steel?" And I would say, "Yes, exactly like Red Steel." So, I mean, why not just call it Red Steel, right? To me, Red Steel is, as a franchise, is flexible enough to change, whilst the franchise is the promise of the gameplay of that first-person sword and gun fighting action. and the protagonist and the locations, I think, can change in the same way that Final Fantasy changes, with every generation. Not that I don't plan to make a full, if we do this again, I don't plan to make a full new version, but, because I love this setting now, I'm very much in love with it, but, I don't even know if we're gonna make another one, so.
No? There won't be another one?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We're gonna see how this one does.
It will depend on the sales?
Well, it depends on a lot of things. The sales and other things, right?
We had the information that Ubisoft has reviewed the amount of sales and reduced. It was 1 million.
Right, down to 500,000.
Yeah,
exactly. I think what you're seeing there really is just is an adjustment of expectation because we're not shipping for Christmas, right? We weren't in the Christmas window, so I think that's what you're seeing there. And to me, it's a perfectly normal part of the plan. I was surprised that the information hadn't come out sooner. But with any luck, it'll do much better than that. I certainly hope that it does. We'll see. It's a big question mark. Everyone wants to know: can you sell a gamer's game on the Wii?
Yeah, that's true. That's a challenge.
You talked about the Wii Motion Plus.
Yeah.
Was it something that Ubisoft told you have to develop the game with this thing, or you just try it and then?
No. In fact, development at Ubisoft doesn't really work that way. The impetus, the desire, sort of comes from inside the team, and we had access to the Wii Motion Plus from the very beginning. We had, I think, the first dev Wii Motion Plus that was outside of Nintendo. I think we had one of the first ones.
Because you had good agreements with Nintendo?
Well, we had made Red Steel. It was a Red Steel team. It's the same team. It's the same group of people, and they had been working on Red Steel since Red Steel 2, since Red Steel 1 shipped. So, I mean, Nintendo knew that we were working on a game, and trying to find our way through that. And they, of course, said, "Hey, by the way, we have this cool device we're working on. That might help." And it was easy. It was easy then to say, "Okay, yes, this is really cool." The hard decision actually was to be Wii Motion Plus exclusive. That was something that was difficult to decide. That was something that I pushed. The team pushed. Because without the Wii Motion Plus, the game that you just played here doesn't work, doesn't exist. But it's not obvious to our fans why that's true.
Yeah.
But it really is, believe me, it's really true. And so it was a gamble. It was a gamble to make the game Wii Motion Plus exclusive, especially because we made that announcement and that decision before Wii Sports Resort shipped. So no one knew what the install base would be like. So I think we're okay now, though.
Why didn't you introduce a multiplayer mode?
Because it'd be too much fun. It would just, we hate our players, and it was just a question of time. We knew that we had a huge challenge. We got the Wii Motion Plus 18 months before we had the final, and in fact at that time it was even 15 months before we had the final, and we knew that we were going to have a lot of work to do discovering and inventing this gameplay. This is new gameplay, and that's always hard. It's time consuming, it's difficult, you have to try many iterations, and we knew that we didn't have time to do that for a single player experience and for a multiplayer experience with the team that we had. There was just no way. So we just decided, okay, screw it, we're not going to do this. But I'll tell you, if we do another one, it will be the first thing on my list of things to tackle, because I really want to beat up my friends in first person. It's really